This is Jason. Hello, this is Jason Arnold, and this is my executive summary for Health Informatics Course 675. And I'm going to do mine within the realms of, sorry, I'm in my car, in the realms of mental health within health informatics, but I'll definitely get into that. Really quickly, I'm a behavior specialist. I work in forensic mental health, and we use a lot of psychotropic medication for like treatment and to streamline medications as well as streamline healthy lifestyles and to give the clients a bit of independence. That being said, sometimes there are factors that affect it positively and negatively, and so that's what I'm going to get into right now. Really quickly, the rapid pace of like the science, policy, technology, and like market forces kind of garnered like innovation and expansion within the use of psychotropic medications. This is kind of brought about through like clinical advantages that involve research and medication advancement, as well as like the safety of medication, patient toleration, the ease of usage for prescribing practitioners, as well as decrease in overdose probability, as well as side effect toleration. Now, the psychotropic medications are aided by like the expansion of insurance, especially as like reduced spending and financial parameters, as well as through coverage like Medicare, Medicaid, supplemental insurance, additionally, private insurance, as well as provisions for veterans through the VA. Also, like institutional responsibility plays a big part of that. If you're doing managed behavior care, they kind of aid and guide the delivery of healthcare through like carve outs, which rely on like inefficiencies of like economics as far as like scale and specialization. And lastly, it's just like market forces, like how you're seeing these medications branded every single day as being the next best thing, or being something that can give you even more independence in life. You can take it with ease of usage, as far as parameters that affect like the quality of the medication, as well as how little you take it, the ease of dosage, things of that nature, like that pliability in dosage, as well as increased effectiveness. Definitely kind of gauge how we look at the marketing of these drugs. Shifting back, sorry. Now, as far as the problem that I want to kind of go into is like when all these measures kind of coexist, sometimes you have the probability of like abuse, like client abuse, as well as through like profit marginalization and lack of like policy and oversight. But I'm going to focus on like the clinician, like client abuse, which is like causation of medication ineffectiveness. Like how can the prolonged usage with all these factors taking place, how can prolonged usage be effective, or how is it ineffective? I want to prove that. So like the increase in magnitude of the ineffectiveness definitely are within parameters of like incorrect dosages. This kind of affects the ineffectiveness. Inaccurate or standardized dosages or diagnosis. The onset of a dual diagnosis, which will cause different medication. Antiquated medication using things kind of like Thorazine or things of that nature, which do work, but sometimes when you're using it with today's health parameters, it kind of can prove ineffective. As well as, like I said, a high fat, high calorie diet, lack of physical exercise or mobility, smoking, illegal substance usage, weight fluctuation. All these things can affect not only the effectiveness of the medication, but also the treatability, and can increase recidivism, which is like how these in my element, how these clients, individuals have repeat offenses, from loitering to burglary to whatever the case may be. So as well as an effective as well as the ineffectiveness of the medication, also is the the combativeness that creates medication non adherence, and that's through like any kind of side effects, like dizziness, drowsiness, constipation, nightmares, tardive dyskinesia, which is like excessive shaking, as well as like medication dangers like water retention, gynecomastia, increased risk of stroke, overdose, death, things of that nature. Finally, the solution to the problem is kind of making sure that you understand like the prolonged usage can be rectified through like initiatives that promote like transparency, as well as like symmetry, like balanced healthcare mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, even financially. Like if you're doing a balancing of like mentally, it could be like development of brain and synapses, things of that nature. Physical could be diet and exercise. Spiritual could be like just understanding peace, tranquility, or religion, which is a pathway to spirituality. That's a totally different subject. Emotionally, as far as like behaviors and like your frustration tolerance, as well as like financial, like your risk assessment of spending habits or your fiscal management. All those needs definitely gonna make it easier for the medication to be more effective if you're using it long term. So this method of health informatics, like research design, I'm going to use is going to be like an investigative approach, which will be kind of like historical research, which is going to like utilize secondary sources, which are like derivatives, of course, of primary sources, and they're going to guide the analysis and the research stability. As far as like the method of data collection, I'm going to use. Man, could use a review of like case studies or like mixes or cost reports or identification of client notes or clinician notes or any type of witness accounts, things of that nature, historical prevalence, record documentation. All these methods will definitely be things I want to utilize, but I think they'll be best utilized and summarized through like surveys, and maybe interview techniques, but definitely surveys, which is going to utilize like the preservation of like the clinician and client experiences, which is informative within the like future constructs of health informatics, as well as health informatics and mental health, as well as is going to be a key component in expanding the body of knowledge. So wow, sorry I was kind of long-winded. Kind of just went through my not executive summary, but just kind of just went through that real quick. As far as just understanding that, they definitely kind of coincide together. But yeah, that's kind of my capstone idea. I didn't want it to be too long, and it kind of is 2 minutes over. Sorry, Baskron, in class. But thank you for your time, and I welcome any questions, comments, criticisms, or replies. Thank you so much. Peace.